First Q&A. I work in management and I have to fire someone. Ooh. What do you think the best way to be professional about it? I'm 26 and I didn't think I'd be in a leadership role so young. I've also never fired someone. Ooh, my God, your head is like probably in a pretzel. It sucks to fire someone. It creates so much anxiety. You worry about it, you think through it, you have apprehension for it. Your head is just consumed about having to fire someone. I think most people, myself included, can be a little bit avoidant about having to fire someone, but it always, I think, is a relief after you do it, because ultimately it's clearly the right thing for your business. And to be honest, it sounds like your business or your team or whatever this role is isn't right for that person. So, my perspective on firing someone is it's never easy. It's not pleasant. You have to keep in mind that you are having a massive impact on someone's life. So you're having a massive impact on their income, you're having a massive impact on their resume and reputation, and you're also having a personal impact, right? So much of people's validity and self-fulfillment and ego comes from what they do for work. And essentially by firing someone, you're taking that away. So you got to take that very seriously. I think taking that seriously means treating the whole situation with respect. So, allow for a lot of time. It probably won't take a lot of time. I find that most firing conversations are kind of short and usually unpleasant, but allow for, an hour's worth of time per se. The second is lay out your points. Like, you don't want to be fumbling all over the message. You have to lay out your points. You need to rehearse your points. You've got to be really clear on why are you firing this person? What exactly is going to happen to them? And what the next steps are. I think sometimes when you tell someone, hey, your job's been eliminated or there isn't a place for you here anymore, people stop listening to you after you say, like, hey, it's not going to work out. And so you've got to sometimes repeat the same hard truth multiple times so that the person hears it. You've got to have good EQ in a firing situation, I think, where you have to approach it with respect. You've got to be firm and deliberate. You've got to be very clear, like, don't mince words, don't talk around the problem. You really want to say, hey, like, this job isn't going to work out. You're not going to be employed here anymore. Here are the reasons why that's going to happen. And here's what the next step is. You should be as kind as possible, but it's more important that you be as clear as possible. And then I also think you have to remember that nobody gives a shit about you in this situation. Like, you're the person firing someone else. So don't don't be like, oh, this was so hard for me to do. That person doesn't care. You just fired them. So keep yourself out of it, but be respectful, be firm, be clear, be supportive, be communicative. Again, just be respectful. Usher the person out. Make sure you have Kleenexes on your desk in case the person cries. Be sure that you can be discreet, right? You want to escort the person out of the building. You want to ask, hey, if you need me to go get the stuff from your desk, I can do that for you. And also use your HR people. So have your HR people help you navigate this conversation. You also may want to have an HR person in the room with you so that there's no ambiguity of what was said or how it was said. All right, second question. I'm a chief of staff at a corporate software company, and we're on the third COO we've had in 8 months. Yikes, sounds like a shit show. Because the mountain of change employees have undergone, it's increasingly more complex to rally the troops. What advice do you have when personnel or initiatives change and they're not within your control? Ooh, this is a good question. Okay, one is there's clearly something going on at your company if you've been through three COOs, which is a chief operating officer, within 3 months. That's basically like each COO is lasting 2 months, which is hardly a moment to get something done. So of course, it's really hard to rally the troops because there's clearly some underlying dysfunction or underlying distress in your company that's causing a massive operational role to not be able to be filled successfully for more than a few months at a time. So I think the big thing, I think, that in your chief of staff role, you got to have your eyes open and you have to have clarity of thought. Like, why is it that you've gone through 3 COOs in 8 months, right? Like, what exactly is going on? Is your boss the problem? Is the product the problem? Is the investment the investors or the stock market the problem? Like, is the consumer or the market fit a problem? Like, what is the problem? Why is it, is it the current management team? Is that the problem? Like, what is the problem that is making what should be a very stable, secure, substantial role at the company feel so tumultuous? So I think you've got to understand that. I think to rally the troops, you need to be like pretty forthright and fairly honest, which is, hey, this is what's going on here. This is why this is happening. And this is what we're doing to fix it. I think it's hard to rally the troops to have morale or to be bought in or to feel committed if there's clearly something that is impeding a massive new hire coming into your company. If there's something impeding that person taking hold and that person being successful. I think it's super normal to hire one COO and have them not work out because they were a bad fit or just wasn't a culture fit or whatever that may be, or maybe they were an idiot. But to have 3 not work out says more about the company than it says about the hire. And I think in your role, you can be massively impactful in not just rallying the troops and talking to, the rank and file employees, but also in influencing management, because it sounds like that's where you need to start. And rallying the troops is almost secondary, because until you fix whatever the problem is, it's going to be impossible to manage the troops. So that's how I would approach it. All right, third question. How do you recommend approaching an end-of-year review when you're already looking for a new job and you're going to leave? I mean, why even have an end-of-year review, right? Like, who cares? Like, do you care what these people have to say? You're going to be leaving. I personally like feedback. I hate feedback and I like feedback. So I think any opportunity to have a conversation where someone can give you input that helps you learn about yourself is a good opportunity. So personally, I would go into this review. I would be super, super professional. I would get as much feedback as you can. I would be actively engaged. You don't want to leave the company and then have your boss look back and be like, God, she was a total asshole in year-end review. Like, I think you want to approach the situation as you would were you staying at the company. I think what you want to take from the review is completely selfish at this point, where you just want to take input that will help make you more successful at your next job and your next company. I would not use the opportunity to go like guns blazing and be like, fuck you, I hate this company, I hate what you do, I think you're stupid, whatever. I wouldn't use it for that. I wouldn't be bombastic in the review, but I would make it clean. I would keep it simple. I would make it easy. I would get as much feedback as you can that's going to help you in your life. Even if you disagree with some of it, quite honestly, like get their perspective on you, because that's going to be important for you to register and hide and file away somewhere. You may want to draw back on that experience in the future.